I know I've said that many times, that this is a very important class, or the most important class, but I do feel that what I'm going to talk about today is one of the most important topics that we need to recognize, realize, and address. And I was thinking yesterday, what should I teach today? And I was like, should I teach about God-fearing? Should I teach about hope? Should I teach about being happy? Should I teach about Lashon Hara? What should I teach about? And I was like, you know what I should teach about? Something happened yesterday, and I was like, I'm going to teach about Midat HaEmet, the attribute of Emet, of truth. And this is something that is lacking amongst us in a horrific way. And you know, they say that the seal of the Kadosh Baruch Hu is Emet, Chotam HaEmet. How does Hashem seal something? With Emet. And it says, our sages say, wherever there is Emet, that's where Hashem can dwell. Emet is truth, honesty. And in a place that there's no Emet, Hashem cannot dwell there. And when I need to summarize my personal experience into one word, what did I learn from my own personal experience? Not about that there's a world to come, not that there's souls, not that there's a Gehenom. I learned from my journey to the world above that it's all about Emet. It's only about truth. And I say it a lot of times, and people get hurt from when I say that, and people comment to me, because I say often that the majority of observant people are liars. And I'm not saying it to chas v'shalom hurt somebody, I'm just stating a fact, and I know sometimes my words will come out not so soft to all ears. But when I became observant, I had hopes, because I came from the world of the secular world, and the world of deception and lying, and everything is crooked, and whether it's business or relationships or whatever it is. And my tshuva was not to put a yarmulke on. My tshuva was to refine myself. After I'm refined, then I'm ready to do mitzvot. And the journey of refinement was a very long journey, but the foundation of everything was emet. Everything has to be emet, truth. And every time that I would bump into observant people that there wasn't the truth, it was a shock. Like, how do you come 3 times a day to shul, and you teach Torah, and you eat kosher, and you observe Shabbat, but you lie? It didn't resonate with me, because the Kadosh Baruch Hu is all about emet. So how can you live a lie, but the life of the Torah? Besides the fact that lying is a sin. It's one of the 10 commandments. And we're not allowed to lie. Moshe was also defined as emet. If you remember the story with Korach was the one who argued with Moshe. Then everybody fell into the ground. The sons of Korach did tshuva. It says the little cliff caught them, and what did they scream from the bottom of the pit? Moshe emet v'torato emet. Moshe is the truth, and the Torah is the truth. So this is a very, very important subject to talk about, because I'm not talking about people who live in denial. I'm talking about people who are observant and they still live a life of a sheker. So unfortunately, this is not a class. This needs to be a course, and we're going to learn it because we want to better ourselves and we want to be better individuals. So we'll start today. We'll see where we'll get with that. But the point to get across is that it all boils down to this midah, to this attribute of emet. And like I said, wherever you will find truth, that's where you'll find Hashem. And wherever there's no truth, what is the reality there? Is the reality of a lie. And Hashem cannot dwell in a place of deception or a lie. Now, emet is also called midat hadin, the attribute of judgment. And din sounds very negative, but din is actually a very positive thing. People think that din, judgment, gvura is bad. Actually, we taught that many times, that the ultimate chesed of Hashem, the ultimate kindness of Hashem is din, is judgment, is restriction. Because if not, there's no boundaries. So emet is also midat hadin, the attribute of judgment. And there's no different types of truths. There's only one truth. There's no my truth or your truth. There's only one truth. There's no two truths. And there's either a truth or not. There's no somewhere in the middle.
In today's society, that is not clear anymore.
That's the problem. That's what we're going to talk about today, because people say, this is my truth. There's no such a thing as my truth. And we're going to find out eventually what is the ultimate truth. But nevertheless, truth is truth. And just yesterday something happened which kind of shocked me, but at least it's good because it kind of gave me the desire to talk about it. There's no 90% truth. If you bend the truth, it's a lie. End of story. There's no discounts here. There's no white lies. There's no 99% truth. There's either truth or not. Now, I know there's a lot more to talk about, but let's start touching it, and then we can definitely develop it into more classes. But first we have to understand a little bit what does it mean truth. Truth is a reality. We live in a reality. There's no such a thing. I mean, I know some people don't live in this reality, but we are all in the same reality, which this is already a question if this reality is the truth, because this reality is not the truth, actually.
People will say we live in our own realities, each of us.
But nevertheless, the truth is emet. And emet is what's called metziut, a reality. And a reality means that there's something that exists. And now comes the question, what is the reality? Is this reality truth? It's not the truth. But nevertheless, I have to constantly be attached to truth. If I'm not attached to truth, I have a problem. I live a lie. And that's not something I want to do. I can be a very observant individual, but if I'm not attached to the truth, then I live a lie. And that's not the reality. But it also is a reality. You know what? A lie is a reality. I make up a new reality. But is that the real reality or not? So we're not going to focus on what's the reality. We want to focus on the truth. And there's a lot of truth, so to say. And but nevertheless, we're going to talk about the one and only truth that I need to be attached to. And we have to remember and understand that the truth is always covered. This is called hastara. Hastara means a concealment, that you don't see the truth. In most cases, you don't see the truth. And this is also called the world of deception. Olam ha-sheker, alma de shikra, the Zohar says, the world of a lie. So I have to understand that the truth by default is covered by a klippah. And I need to know how to remove this klippah, how to remove this deception to see the truth. Now, one of the names of the Yetzer Hara is Even, a stone. Once I gave a class, I think even that class wasn't even recorded, which I should give the class again, where I explained the 7 names of the Yetzer Hara. He has 7 names. One of the names of the Yetzer Hara is called Even. And it says, if you remove the stone, you find the truth. What does it mean if you remove the stone, you find the truth? So if you're taking the word Even in Hebrew, it's Aleph, Bet, Nun. That's how you write it. Now, if you remove it, what does it mean? That before that, something exists. So remove the letter Aleph. What's the letter, if you take all the letters in a cycle, what's the letter before Aleph? Will be Taf, right? The last letter. What's the letter before Bet? Aleph. And what's the letter before Nun? Mem. What do we get? Emet. Truth. So when our sages say, if you remove the stone, you find the truth, this is the metaphorical way, but Even is the Yetzer Hara. Now I sometimes think that the Yetzer Hara is here to make me sin. This is true. He wants me to sin, but the Yetzer Hara has bigger fish to fry. As the other day I was talking with a certain individual, and I asked a certain legal question, and he said, you are this is a small fish. You know, governments, police, they have bigger fish to fry. The Yetzer Hara has much bigger things than to make you now eat a ham sandwich. If you can get that on the way, yalla, no, eat it. The Yetzer Hara is here to get you in many different ways, which I explained many times, that his ultimate agenda is to get you to argue with other people. This is what the Yetzer Hara wants. The Yetzer Hara wants you to be in disagreement with people. That's his ultimate goal. The Yetzer Hara also wants you to be depressed, lifeless, and the Yetzer Hara also wants to hide the truth from you, because when he hides the truth from you, he's confusing you to a point that you're living a life of a lie. And on the way, if he can throw in a few sins on the way, that's great. Now, I have to constantly glue myself, and I'm using the word glue because that's the word that you can find in many books, lehidabek. In Hebrew, that's how it says lehidabek. Why glue? Because glue is inseparable. If I glue myself to something, positive of course, I'm inseparable. So the term, what our sages use in many different books, whether it's books of Kabbalah, books of Musar, they use the word lehidabek, to be glued. So I know it's not so grammatically correct in English, but nevertheless, I'm going to use this word. And we constantly have to be glued to the truth. Because if I'm not, you know what I live? I live a life of a fantasy. The other day I was talking with my kids, and one is 7, one is 10, one is 12, and all they talk about is fantasies. Imagine we would have, I don't want to imagine because it will never happen. No, but imagine, what if I had now, they were talking about, and I was making a joke, because one of my kids was asking for something, and I told him, what if you would have now 50,000 shekels? What would you do? Wow, I will do this, blah, blah. And I was like, let's stop this conversation right now, because you're not going to have 50,000 shekels. And even if you have it, I'm not going to give it to you. And even if you have it, you're not going to buy 1,000 lollipops. This is an imaginary thing. This is imagining. We call it in Hebrew dimyonot. In Hebrew, in Israel, they have another term to that, chai beseret. You're living in a movie. Movies, Hollywood is just a bunch of imaginating things. That's why people like movies, because it takes them away from the reality. They don't need to really deal with reality. The other day, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I have a friend he's a producer, an actor. Anyways, he was acting on a big show of Netflix here in Israel. So he told me, do you want to come and see how they shoot a film? I told him I can care less how they shoot a film. But he says, maybe your kids will want to see it. It's very exciting. I said, my kids will like to see it. So they took us, we went to the set. We met the actors, the producers, and you see the set, and my kids are like, that's how they make a movie? It's all fake. It's fake rooms. It's fake sets. Everything is fake. And the movie, the camera makes it look so real. And I was like, yeah, now you're going to see the real product. And you'll see, wait a minute, it was shot in a big room that just had some fake walls and fake libraries, and everything is fake. So if I'm not glued to the truth, I live in a world of imaginary world. And that's 99.999% of this planet are living in an imaginary world. They're not attached to the reality of truth. Now, how do I do that? Nobody wants to live in an imaginary world. Then you have to, some people do, but you don't want to. You know why? Because the imaginary world takes you nowhere. That's the problem with the imaginary world. It's very nice to dream, it's very nice to fantasize, it's very nice to live in a dream, but it doesn't take you anywhere. It takes you to Wonderland. So how do you live in reality? You have to remove the klipot. And if I don't remove the klipa is a husk, something that covers the truth, I have to remove the klipa that is attached to my nefesh. That's how it's done. Now, if I am not walking on the path of truth, I am wasting my time. Every second that passes in this world, there's this big clock over there. I always look at it, 22, 23, 24, 25, 3 seconds just went like that. On what? On me saying 22, 23, 24. 3 seconds of my life were now wasted. The Gaon from Vilna, before he died, he started crying. They asked him, why you cry? So he says, I can't wear tzitzit anymore. But all your life you wore tzitzit. Yeah, but every second that I wear tzitzit, you can't even imagine what I achieve with 1 second of wearing tzitzit. So we have to understand that every second that I'm not attached to the truth, I'm walking on a path of nothing, and I'm wasting my time. Most people waste their time. Yesterday somebody sent me this video. I told you so many times, people think that I'm bored, and people send me all day long videos. Now half of them are ridiculous videos of some cat making a dance, and then people find it happy. But some videos, are actually good. Somebody sent me a video yesterday of Arnold Schwarzenegger talking. And as a kid, I liked him. And when I was a little kid, he was one of my heroes. So that already got my attention. And I looked at it, 4 or 5 minute video. And at the end of the day, the man did achieve a lot of things in his life. And it's like a motivational video. And he spoke in front of like a huge crowd. It looked like thousands of people in some big hall. And the message was, work hard. You have to work hard in your life. And he was explaining how he would work out in a gym 5-6 hours to be Mr. Universe. Then he worked in construction to support himself, and at night he would be in acting school. And he started breaking up his day, and he says, and he's right, people waste their time all day long. What a waste of time. You know what you can do in one day? You know how much you can squeeze into one day? And most people are wasting their time. So if I am not living a life of truth, this is a waste of my time. I'm literally wasting my precious time that will never come back. Here's another few seconds pass. I'm keep looking on this clock. Another 27, 28. Look how much seconds are wasted in my life. You know, sometimes I bump into people. Hello, how are you? Goodbye. Well, where are you running? Well, I'm busy. I don't have time to schmooze with you. Yesterday somebody wanted to talk to me. He speaks to, I want to make an appointment. Okay, come at 3:45. No, I want to come at 3:15. 45 minutes. You think I have 45 minutes to talk to you? I'll give you 15 minutes. It's more than enough. What do you need to talk to me for 45 minutes? What do you want to crack the atom? Just tell me what's the problem. I'll give you my answer and let's move on. There's no time now. You have to be efficient here. So, if I am not walking on the path of truth and I'm wasting my time, you know what it means? That I'm living a life of a disattached reality. This is called hevel. Hevel is emptiness. Most people, they live a life of emptiness. If you check your messages on your WhatsApp more than twice a day, this is a life of hevel. Why need you check your status on Facebook more than once a day? Who says you have to check it at all? But some people sitting on Facebook for hours, the finger syndrome, I don't know how we're going to look evolutionary, in 50 years, the fingers will be like this, from just going like that. You know? Why do you have to be on Facebook for 3 hours? Be there 15 minutes, look at the news, look at the cats dancing and move on. So this is called Chayei Hevel, life of emptiness. Why? Because I'm attached to a reality that is a reality of a lie.
Is it the same Hevel like the son of Adam?
No, that's a different Hevel. Hevel means emptiness. Now, this brings us to the great question that a lot of people do find themselves asking that. So what am I doing here? What am I doing in this world? If you get to this question, then you won the lottery, because most people don't get to this question. They just live a life of running on a conveyor belt. But you want to get yourself to a life, to a point that you're saying, what am I doing here? What am I doing here right now on this planet? Now, most people, they live in such dimyonot, in such illusion, in such a fake world, that they think that materialism will do them some type of a good. Yesterday somebody sent me a message and told me, is this a mitzvah to serve Hashem b'simcha, right? Even do it Hashem b'simcha, to serve Hashem with happiness. I says, yes, of course. So he says, well, what if it makes me very happy to drive a nice Mercedes? Should I go after the Mercedes? He says, if a Mercedes makes you happy, you're in big trouble, my friend. That's what makes you happy? It's a fake happiness, so you'll be happy for the first 2 weeks. And after that, it's just another car. And even if it does make you happy, it's a fake happiness. It's not real happiness. And how long are you in the car every day? An hour? How long is your commute? 2 hours? So 2 hours of your day, you are depending on a piece of metal. That's happiness. Now what happens if the piece of metal, this Mercedes, is taken away? Then you lost your happiness? So you cannot depend on any type of materialism for real happiness. This is a dimyon. Again, this is a fiction. This is an imaginary thing that I think that anything materialistic will cause me to be happy or that will benefit me in any type of a way. The greatest sages of all, they only benefit from spirituality. And they didn't lack anything. So this is one of the biggest imaginary powers. The teachings of Kabbalah calls it koach hamedameh, the power of imaginary that makes me think that I see something or I understand something and it's completely false. Just remember, koach hamedameh. Koach hadimyon, the power of imagination. I mean, some people, their imagination is so, or illusion, but nevertheless, the power of illusion, the power of imaginary is very, very powerful. That you can easily, in 1 second, be completely taken by this power. It's so powerful that Rabbi Nachman from Breslev said that he would, if he had the ability, he would change the name of the Yetzer Hara to be called Koach HaMedameh. To stop calling him Yetzer Hara, evil inclination. Call him the power of illusion. That's what Rabbi Nachman wanted to say. Don't stop calling him a Yetzer Hara, an evil inclination. Call him the power of illusion, the power of imaginary. That I'm imagining things. Now, how do you think the Yetzer Hara got his way in Gan Eden? The Yetzer Hara was presented as a serpent, even though he wasn't this little spaghetti going into Gan Eden. He looked like Adam and Chava. He looked like a human being. How did he get his way? With the power of imaginary. He told Chava, you know, if you eat from this fruit, you're going to be like God. You're going to be a God. And he got her to believe in a false imaginary power that if she will eat it, she will become a god. She started to imagining, wow, wouldn't that be cool to be a god? I'll eat it. So how did he get through to her? By selling her a false imaginary power that, yeah, you can be a god too. That's why the Yetzer Hara, we call him a Yetzer Hara, an evil inclination. But he's a master of deception. The Yetzer Hara is invented the word ta-da! That's my chidush. He's a magician. He just makes things appear in such a way and you're like, wow, I want one. Can I have the red one, please? So the Yetzer Hara is a koach medameh. Now, if you take it out to our generation, I'm sure you got attacked once or twice in the last week with some commercials. Commercials is the perfect example of this imaginary thing. You think in commercials they're showing you the reality? They're not showing you the reality. They're trying to sell you a shampoo, so they're taking a woman with the silky, beautiful hair, that naturally her hair is silky and beautiful, and you're like, wow, I can get that hair too? And then 5 million people go and buy this shampoo that doesn't do nothing. And same thing with all the rest of the junk that they're trying to sell you. Showing a muscular man and women falling to his arms because he has some perfume on him. What kind of nonsense is that? So if you are unattractive, you're 5'2", you're 180 pounds overweight, and you put that perfume, women are going to fall on you, and people buy this illusion. So the commercials in our generation is a perfect example of this koach hamedameh, the power of imaginary. In Hebrew we say, machnisim et ben adam leseret. They put the person in some type of a movie and wow, I'm now imagining all sorts of things that are completely away from the reality. Now, just to move forward a little bit, the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, great Mekubal, unbelievable teachings. He says there are two types of darkness in the world. One darkness is complete darkness, that you don't see nothing. The second type of darkness is it's kind of like twilight. You see, you don't see, not 100%. You think you see something, it looks like something. Like turn off now the lights in the room. You see images, you'll see shadows, you'll see something. And he says, which one is the more dangerous darkness? Is the one that you're not 100% sure. The one, the darkness that is 100% darkness, okay, you don't see nothing. That's it, that's the reality, you don't see nothing. The other type of darkness, it's iffy. What am I seeing there? I'm not 100% sure. That's a much more dangerous darkness. Now, when I come to really observe the truth, there's going to be powers that will stop me from really seeing the truth. How many times somebody will approach you, will tell you something, and if you're normal, then you're saying, okay, doesn't mean I have to believe what you're saying right now. In most cases, especially if it's some juicy information, then you believe it right away. But very few people, they say, okay, let me now look at it. Let me observe more into it. Let me now investigate. When you come to do that, there's going to be always different powers that will fail you to see the actual truth. And that's the problem with most people. Very few people are able to see, cut right away, this is the truth, this is not the truth. There is a great rabbi, he's known as Rabbi Dessler. He has a book, it's called Michtav Me'Eliyahu, a letter from Eliyahu. And in the first chapter, there's a ma'amar, it's called Mabat HaEmet, the glazing, or how do you say glazed, look at something, glazing at the truth. How?
Gaze.
Gaze, sorry, thank you. Gazing at the truth, looking at something and trying to see the truth. Now, he says when you're coming to look at something and you want to see if it's the truth or not, what do you use? You use your intellect and you use your thoughts. If I now want to investigate if something is the truth, then what's the tool that I'm going to use? Both my intellect and my thoughts. Now, what would try to figure out here? If this is good or if this is not good, right? Truth, not truth. Then I'm using my intellect here. The problem is that when I come to investigate, he says there in Michtav Eliyahu, he says there, when you come to weigh something, make sure your scale is working the right way. When you come to investigate in something, make sure that your measuring tools are working the right way. Because if not, you're not going to be measuring it the right way. Last week I came back from America. I told you already many times, I go with empty suitcases and I come back with full suitcases. That's the system how it works. My wife goes on Amazon, she empties their warehouse, and I'm the schlepper, and I come home, I'm the hero. I come home with suitcases full of toys. And to be exact on the truth, I don't go with empty suitcases. I print my CDs in Israel, so I schlep full suitcases with CDs, empty there, then the suitcases come back. So I'm always overweight. There's never such a thing that my suitcases are always like the ones that are about to explode, the ones that they put all these markers on them, extremely heavy, lift up 2 people at once. I mean, they always have all these stickers. And I always weigh them before I go to the airport. My scale always shows one type of weight, and when you put it in the airport, it always adds, like a camera, a few pounds. So, and somehow there's always a miracle. You know, the last time that I came, not this trip before, I had 4 suitcases. They were all beyond overweight, not like a half a gram. And the place where I went in, the scale didn't work. And the guy said, it's okay. And I'm like looking at my dog like, it's okay. I just went in like 150 pounds overweight. Thank you so much. That's where you see Hashem is like, it's okay. Why am I saying that? Because my scale always shows a certain amount, and their scale, the airport's always shows a different amount. Now go and argue with them right now. So Rabbi Dessler says, when you're about to weigh something, when you're about to measure something, make sure your tool is working the right way. Because if not, then you're not going to get the right measurement. So this brings us to the point to understand that when I want to measure something, if it's the truth or not, if it's good or not, what do I use? I use my thoughts, I use my intellect. Now, every thought that I have, this is a big enigma to all types of researchers, where do the thoughts come from? I can now produce thoughts like that. Where do they come from? Where are they stored? But more important, where do they originate from? Where does a thought originate from? Have you ever thought about that? But nevertheless, every thought, there's a source to it. The source is called a will, ratzon. I want to eat now. Well, there has to be some type of a desire here because I'm hungry, or I want this beautiful, delicious cake here, or whatever it is. So what comes before the thought, it's called ratzon. Ratzon is a desire. Now, if I think about something because it interests me, then right away I'm going to be favorable towards what I want, because that's what I want right now. And now what's going to happen is that I will aim towards what I want, and that's going to be the measuring tool that I'm using. So I'm basically bribed here. I'm bribing myself when it comes to measure certain things. Now if I want to now, forget about truth or lie, I'm looking at something to eat, and I want to eat it. Now I know it's not so healthy, it has sugar, some white flour maybe some chemicals, how do you call it, the colors, whatever it is, and but I do want to eat it. It's very delicious. My mind now is going to start convincing me in any type of a way why it's okay to eat it. But am I measuring it right now the right way? No, my tool is now completely bribed because I want to, because it's blue or yellow and it has a good smell. So, to give you an example, if you take a person, and a person wants to know if he can play chess on Shabbat. Okay, he wants to play chess. So he opens a book of halakha. Can I play chess on Shabbat? Now, what would his eyes focus on? His eyes would focus on where it says that he's allowed to play chess. Why? Because he wants to play. So what will he would look for? Where it's allowing him to do that. Why? Because he wants to play. So our mind, our thoughts are bribed. Now when you're thinking about it, when you're looking with your intellect about something that you really want, then you can't really see the truth. Because my mind is now bribed to what I want to get. So I'm not really looking at it with the eyes of truth. My thoughts that are causing me to get something are bribed. That's why it says in the Torah, we're not allowed to take bribes. And that's one of the powers that will make me fail to ever come to the truth. That my mind is already bribed. So I'm not thinking the right way. Now, it says, Shlomo Melech says in the book of Proverbs, in Mishlei, Shochad yaver enei tzadikim, enei chachamim. The bribery will blind the eyes of a smart person. Bribery. Now, what's the reason behind what he's saying? The bribery will blind the eyes of a wise person. Why? Because how can the bribery make a person blind? That he doesn't see the truth now anymore. He's bribed. He has a power that's convincing him. Now, the Talmud says, this is found in Tractate Ketubot, it says bribery, what is really bribery? Is that when you give me bribery for whatever reason, you take your energy and you take my energy and you connect them together. That's really bribery. That's when I bribe a person in this world. Now, a person who received bribery can never see the truth anymore. He's bribed. That's it. That's why Shlomo Melech says the bribery will blind the eyes of chachamim, of great sages. Because once you receive the bribery, that's it, you're blinded. You have favor into the other person's side. And this is called koach hamedameh. We'll talk about a little bit more about bribery. But to summarize it, this is called the power of illusion. Koach hamedameh. It's running away from the truth. Most people, they want to run away from the truth. They don't want to deal with the truth right now. That's why a lot of people, they hear the truth, they want to throw up. I don't want to deal with the truth right now. Now, worse than that, what happens when a person, his livelihood is about lying? That's my parnasah. That's how I make money. Now, how am I going to deal with this right now? How can I deal with the sheker, with the lie, when my livelihood, my business is about sheker? So you know what's going to happen now? Now my intellect is going to come up with all the excuses why it's okay to do that. And it doesn't matter right now. I'm not going to get into examples right now. But when something is very close to me, and if I'm going to lose my business, my money, because it's not on the path of truth, then it means that now I'm bribed. Then my mind is going to give me all the answers why I should do that and why it's okay to do that, and it will quote all the halachot. Suddenly my mind is a gaon, a genius in halakha, and will give me all the heterim, all the discounts. Now, like I said before, that the Ramchal says there are two types of darkness in the world. We also have two powers in our brain. And we're going to call them from now a judge and a lawyer. We all have a judge in our mind and we all have a lawyer in our mind. Now, what is the position of the lawyer? Prove that I didn't do it. I mean, I say liars, but I don't want to chas v'shalom offend the ones who are lawyers. But what is the lawyer? Sometimes the lawyer has to represent a murderer, and he knows the person murdered it. His job is to prove that he didn't. So the lawyer's job is to prove that I didn't do it. Prove that I didn't steal. You telling me that I stole? Prove that I didn't. That's my lawyer. And the lawyer, he's getting money, and he has to protect the one who gave him money. In halakha, that doesn't work. Only in the secular world, the lawyer can defend a rapist, a molester, a terrorist, a murderer. In halakha, there's no such a thing. When you go to a Beit Din, to a Jewish court, you're not allowed, if you know the person is 100% at fault, you're not allowed to protect that person. So, the lawyer is the power that has to prove that I didn't do it. The judge is the power that now, let's prove the truth. Let's get the truth out. I want to see the truth. Some people care about the truth, some people don't. But the lawyer wants to prove that you didn't, the judge wants to prove the truth. Now, in my mind, I have on one side the lawyer, one side the judge. The lawyer will protect right now what's going on in my life. It's okay, you can sleep in. It's okay, you can eat that cookie right now. It's fine. It's okay, you can do that. You can steal. Everybody steals. So the lawyer is always going to protect right now what's going on in my life. Why? Because it's comfortable for me. It's comfortable for me to eat right now whatever I want. It's comfortable to me to do whatever I want. So the lawyer in my mind is going to work overtime to make sure that whatever is comfortable for me, that's the way it should be. And it will give me all the excuses how and why I shouldn't allow to do that. And I really don't want to give examples because we're going to stay here till tomorrow with examples, but each person has to take this information, digest it. The video is recorded. Watch the video 20 times, because if you're not going to apply what I'm talking in this class, then you continue to live in a life of a lie. And I can give you numerous examples. But there's always going to be the lawyer in my mind that's going to convince me that right now, where I'm holding is the right thing, because it's comfortable for me and I want to. And the lawyer will convince why, how, who, when that I'm allowed to do that.
Similar to the matrix.
No, if you don't mind, let me go through, because it's very distracting me, all the questions. So then we'll do later on all the questions. The problem starts, I'll tell you where the problem really starts, when it's talking about deep and profound things. Not about right now, about a cookie. I'm giving examples about a cookie. This is nonsense. I'm talking about when the problem starts with deep and profound things in my life that are very, very valuable and strong. Then comes the problem. And you know when it's the problem is? When the questions are essential questions. Not if I should eat a cookie right now, or if I should watch this movie, or what. This is important things too. But nevertheless, the problem really starts when the questions are serious. That's when the question starts. And then it's when you want to be your own judge. You have to be a dayan. You have to be a judge. And you have to look for the truth. How do people become observant in the middle of their life? How do people convert in the middle of their life? Because they reach to the point when the questions are serious questions. Not if to eat a cookie. When I have a serious question in my life, then I start looking for the real truth. You think for nothing there are millions of people that turn their life in the middle of their life, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old. Hashem takes them on a journey, and at some point they're saying, I need the truth, because at some point the truth is going to be thrown into my face, and I don't want to be caught now in a way that I live the life of a lie. So the questions become serious when you are reaching either a dead end or a pit, or that the questions are serious questions. And then that's when you really have to become a judge and to look for the truth. Now, and if you don't do that, then again, you're living a life of a lie and a lie and a lie. Now, what is the ultimate question that everybody has to ask themselves? Is there a God? Is there a God? Now, you're all nodding, but there are millions of people that say no. And there are many people that they say that there's a God, but they don't really believe. It's just peer pressure. Or it's the in thing to do. Or right now, that's where I am right now. But this is really the real question. Now, even though you being observant, you have to ask this question every day, is there a God? Because if you say there is a God, so why do you lie? Why do you cheat? Why do you say Lashon Hara? Why do you do all these things? You believe there's a God, no? The God told you not to lie. Why do you lie? So even an observant person has to ask himself, is there a God? Of course there's a God. So how dare you do what you do? If you believe there's a God, how dare you do certain acts and you say, I believe there's a God? I don't think you do believe. Because if you would believe, then you wouldn't do certain acts. You use your own imagination which acts I'm talking about, because your acts are different than your acts. I'm not going to start putting people on the spot, but you have to constantly ask if there's a God, and not if there's a creator to the world. We'll get to the point of the idea of why am I saying is there a God. I want to give an example, a question. Not a question, an example. There is a Tana in the Talmud. He's known as Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma. And he had a business going on. He had land. And how did he make money? He had an individual, in Hebrew it's called aris, that I have a land, you work on my land, and I let you use my land. But at the end, we split the crops. Or you give me money, you rented my land. So Yossi ben Kisma had an aris. Every Thursday, this person, you'd come with a box with all his fruit, his vegetables. One time, he comes on a Wednesday. Yossi ben Kisma tells him, why coming on Wednesday? You come every Thursday. He says, well, I didn't tell you. Tomorrow I have a court day. He's like, really? And he says, yeah, and you're the judge. I'm the judge? He says, yeah. So Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma tells him, I can't be the judge. You just now disqualified me from being a judge. You brought me this box of fruit. And he says, but I always bring it to you. He says, yes, but today you brought it on Wednesday. I can't be your judge. This is a bribery. Whether you intended it to be a bribery or not, whether you bring me the box every Thursday or not, you just gave me something now, that's it. I can't be the judge anymore. Because in the back of my mind, I will have some type of favor towards you. So, there are many times that when the person has to be the judge, he cannot be bribed in any type of a way. I'll tell you another story. There's a famous story with Rabbi Yitzchak from Berdichov. Rabbi Yitzchak from Berdichov was known to be a man of truth. Very, very strong midat haemet. One time he was a judge in a situation, and there was a court case between a poor person and the rich person. Okay, it was a long court case, wasn't like a one-time thing. Rabbi Yitzchak from Berdichov was more leaning towards the fact that the poor person is right and the rich person has to pay. And the rich person started picking up on that, and he's like, now I'm going to be in trouble. So he started asking people, what should I do? How can I change the judgments towards me? So somebody told him, bribe the rabbi. He said, bribe the rabbi? He's such a holy man, you think he's going to accept a bribery? So he says, no, I didn't tell you to bribe him face to face. Why don't you go in the morning where he prays? He wears a coat. And when he goes to pray, he takes his coat off and he hangs it in the hanger in the entrance. Go and put a few gold coins in the coat. You don't have to bribe him directly. Okay. He went and put the gold coins in the coat. Came the day of the judgment of the court, and Rabbi Yitzchak from Berdichov starts getting all these weird thoughts. Suddenly he's confused. He's not thinking straight. He's not seeing things the right way. He says, I'm sorry to tell you, I don't know what's going on with me today. We have to stop the case. We have to stop the court case. I can't judge today. And he walks out, he puts the coat on, he puts his hand in his coat, and what do you know? He finds a few coins. So even if the bribery was not done directly, like I told you before, when you bribe somebody, you merge energies. That's how it works. Now if I have an issue with you, and I want him to hate him, then I come and bribe that person. I need more people on my side to make a coalition against this person right now. So I bribe you one way or another. I can bribe you by saying, oh, you look so amazing today. Oh, really? Thank you so much. That's bribery. I now just merged our energies together. Now, this is now in the physical world. The idea is that we have to understand what bribery means, and bribery means that I'm affected. That I don't know if that's the right way of saying, but I'm afflicted. There's an affliction on me right now. When you bribe, that's it. The person on the other side that received the bribery is affected. Now, how does it work towards me? Imagine now I argue with somebody. We all have arguments. Now, when I argue with somebody, whose sides do I see? I see my side. I don't see your side. Maybe you are 100% right, but I'm 100% right because I see my side. So can I really argue with you? No. How many times you are really fair in an argument and says, "No, am I kidding? That person is right. I should back off. I should apologize." That happens once in a blue moon. Most people, when it comes into the argument, then you're arguing with me, you're attacking me, I'm right. My brain will start developing all the excuses why I'm right. How many times are you willing to take a step back and say, wait a minute, he's right, she, he, and I owe you an apology, you're right. That's very rare. So when I argue with somebody, I hold the side of my truth. So I see my truth because it's my benefit. And who says that my truth is the right side in this argument? So I have to understand that in order to reach to Midat HaEmet, it's a very, very long process. It's not easy because I'm constantly bribed. There's a great rabbi, he lived about 300 years ago, Rabbi Pinchas Mikoritz. And he said that it took him 21 years to reach to Midat HaEmet. 7 years to really learn what's a lie. 7 years to learn what's a lie. 7 years to get rid of it, that I don't have a lie. And 7 years to acquire the judgment, the midah of emet. 21 years to reach to midat emet. Now, that we have to understand also that the opposite of emet is truth, the opposite of course is a lie. Just that you understand what it means a lie, you know that even being a hypocrite is a lie? If you want to look at the halacha part of it, exaggerating is a lie. Being a hypocrite is a lie. Now, for example, sometimes I'm doing a certain action to impress you. You know when it happens in the world of the Torah? I see it a lot when I fly. Pitom, everybody's reading books. Oh, suddenly you're the big lamdan. Now on the plane, you're reading the Gemara. Why? Because there's 400 people around you. I bet you that at home you don't even bother to open the book. Pitom, around a lot of people. In the world of the Torah, you see it a lot. That somebody is in a forum of people, suddenly, I can't be bothered, I'm reading now. You're a liar. I never saw you in yeshiva. Here, I don't see you in the morning classes. Where are you? Now, suddenly, next to other people, you want to impress people, suddenly. This is called hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. That's a lie. So a lie is anything that is not the truth. Very few people are, this is what you get. And a lot of people can't handle that. Certain people don't like me. Why? Because there's no schmutz here. This is what you get. Whether you're happy with what I say or not, that's not my problem. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to round corners. And some people can't handle it. Some people can't handle to get the truth thrown into their face. And some people, they don't want to hear the truth because it completely throws them off their balance. I don't want you now to stand next to me because you are a mirror of truth. And that's not, I'm not comfortable with it. So the point we want to take from that is that we live in a life of a lie. I can't be attached to a lie in any type of a way. And any type of a way that I'm attached to a lie, that means I'm not living a life of truth, that I lie to myself. I can lie to you, I can lie to you, I can lie to whoever I want. You will never know. I'm a very good liar. I can lie to anybody. Before I was observant, I was the number one liar in the world. Had millions of dollars because I was able to manipulate any business deal possible. I had millions of dollars when I was 26 years old. Everything was a lie. Everything was deception and corruption and distortion. So it's very easy to lie. But can you lie to God? No, you can't lie to God. Now, if you dare to lie to yourself, then you are completely digging yourself a hole under your feet. So, how do you really reach to this midat haemet? If you live your life, this is my personal advice to people. If you don't live a life of truth, you're wasting every moment of your life. I don't care how many hours a day you're going to be in yeshiva, how black your suit is, how long your beard is. If you are a liar, sorry to tell you, it's not going to work out for you in the world above. That's my own experience, how I experience it on my own soul. In the world above, it's all about truth. There's nothing there but truth. There's no sides to the coin in the world above. There's only one side of the coin. It's called emet. And if you don't know how to stand with the emet in the world above, I don't care how long your beard is, you're not going to survive there. I know people that are not so observant. I know a certain individual, doesn't want to say who. He's not so observant. He doesn't observe Shabbat, here and there. he doesn't really follow the laws of kashrut. He's not, let's put it, the number one Jew in the world. But I never saw one lie. I know the person for years. One lie comes out of this person's mouth. The person is sharp, straight like an arrow. And I guarantee to you that when he goes to Shamayim, they're going to say, you know what, maybe you didn't observe Shabbat and maybe you didn't put tefillin on every day, but with how you practice midat ha'emet, come on, credit is due where it has to be given. So we have to constantly live by the thought that how am I living a life of truth? Because I don't want to lie to myself. Most people, their brain is bribed. Their thoughts are bribed. Their sechel, their intellect is bribed, because right now that's what I want to get. My brain will manipulate it in any type of way that this is the truth. So how do I get finally to be attached to midat ha'emet, to the attribute of emet? Then I have to refine myself. This is called tikkun hamidot. We spoke about it many times. We started learning a book called Tomer Dvorah. That's about tikkun hamidot. We started learning a book of Sharei Kedusha. That's tikkun hamidot. There are many books that teach you how to refine your characteristics. And if you don't do that, you'll never live a life of truth. Besides the fact that I mentioned so many times that the existence of us here in the world is only to refine our characteristics. We are a being that holds a soul in the being, and the soul comes down to the world like an unpolished diamond, and Hashem says, here's the diamond, now polish it for me. That's why I was created. And I'm an unpolished diamond, and Hashem says, here's a world, here's challenges, polish the diamond. And when I leave this world, I give the soul back to Hashem. Neshama shenatata bi tehorai. Hashem, you gave me a soul. It's not my soul. I don't own my soul. I know it's kind of a mind game now. I don't own my soul, so who am I? But we're not going to get to this right now. But the point is that I came down to the world to polish my soul by refining my characteristics. And if I don't do that, I will never refine myself, and then another Gilgul, another life, another incarnation. Now, how do I do it? I can't be attached to this life of a lie. And what's the midot that I have to work on in tikkun hamidot, specifically with that, is geava, is honor, pride, ego, and fear. These are the things I need to work on. Because I need to understand that there's only one truth. There's no other truth. You know what's this one truth? Torah. It's the only truth there is. Anything in the world that is not parallel to the Torah is not the truth. And this is equivalent to Jews, non-Jews. Everybody has to follow the Torah. The Torah is not only for the Jews. It doesn't say anywhere the Torah is only for the Jews. The Torah is for the rest of the world. Also the Gentiles have to follow the Torah. So there's only one truth in the world, and this truth is called Torah. Now, many people tried for thousands of years to prove that the Torah is wrong. There was not one person successful up until now, in the last 3,500 years, that was able to prove one distortion in the Torah. And trust me, many people tried. There's not even one false detail in the Torah. There's not even one distortion. You know how many examples are? I think I shared this example once, that people say, who wrote the Torah? No, Moshe Rabbeinu wrote the Torah. It was written by a man. Oh yeah? Okay. So if the Torah was written by a man 3,500 years ago, you know that it says in the Torah that there are only 4 animals in this planet that have signs of being kosher, and these signs have to chew its cud and to have a split hoof. Only 4 animals, there are only 4 animals. I said it completely wrong. There are only 4 animals on this planet that they have the signs of a kosher animal, but they don't have both of the signs together. In order for the animal to be kosher, it has to chew its cud and to have a split hoof. Now there are 4 animals that have one of these signs, and they can be mistaken for kosher. That's the camel, the pig, the hare, and the hyrax. These are the 4 animals that they have one of the signs. Now, let's go back in history for a second. Moshe Rabbeinu wrote the Torah, that's what people say. Where did Moshe Rabbeinu live? He lived in Mitzrayim. Okay, he lived a little bit in Midian, a little bit in Sinai. He didn't even go to Eretz Israel. So he lived in, let's say, in a diameter of 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers. How far did he go? So let's say he knows only what's going on in Mitzrayim. Was Moshe Rabbeinu in Brazil? No. Was he in Australia? No. New Guinea, New Zealand? No. So how does he know what's in New Zealand? Can you imagine how many people try to find types of animals that have one of these signs? With the Discovery Channel, with the History Channel, with all the channels, nobody ever finds such an animal. How did Moshe Rabbeinu know? 3,500 years ago, without cameras, without satellites, without Discovery Channels, without anything, without traveling, he was in one place in the globe. How does he know? There are 4 animals. Nobody was ever was able to find such an animal because it doesn't exist. And this is one example out of many. Not too long ago, I also pulled out another example. It says in the Talmud that any animal in this world that doesn't have bones cannot live more than a year. So what animals don't have bones? You know, the little worms and all sorts of other types of animals like that, right? One time somebody came and found a certain worm, and he proved that it lived more than a year. He says, here, this worm doesn't have a bone. He went to a rabbi. The rabbi told him, let's see what the Talmud says. He pulls out Tractate Chulin, where it says that. He looks up the animal and it says, open the skull. There was a little few millimeter bone in the skull. It wasn't a skull, but where the brain is, a little bone. He says, see, there's a little bone here. That's why this animal, this little worm, was able to live more than a year. There are so much details in the Torah that, you know, we learn Zohar here every day. You know, that was written about 2,500 years ago. How does Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, a man in a cave, can know all details that only now we're finding out about them? You know that he wrote 2,500 years ago that the world is a ball. When did they find out that the world is round? 150 years ago? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is giving so many precise details, whether it's the Zohar, the Talmud, the Torah. So the only source of emet is the Torah. And there's no other sources. And there's nobody was able to prove the Torah is wrong. Which means if you want to know what's the truth, look if it says in the Torah. If it doesn't say it in the Torah, it means it doesn't exist. You know, a few months ago we had a class here, a few classes in the Zohar, and I was talking about all the weird things that we have in the world. And one of them we're talking about mermaids. And it says in the Zohar, there are mermaids. If the Zohar says there are mermaids, it means there are mermaids. This is not an invention of Disney. They're just in Disney, they're making them out look so cute and nice. In real reality, the mermaids are evil. But nevertheless, we went through the Zohar about different things, and the Zohar was talking about different things that we have in this universe, and people think, oh no, that's an invention. No, if it says in the Zohar, it exists. The Zohar says there are werewolves, and many other things. So the source of the truth is only Torah. There's no other source of the truth. Now, since we're going over our time, how do I get attached to the emet? This should be your highlight of your life. How do I live a life of truth? You have to stop yourself, whether it's once a day, twice a day, 100 times a day, and to question yourself, this emet. When I became observant, 3 years, I didn't even wear a yarmulke. I only put tefillin on in the morning because I wanted to have at least a mitzvah, and I wouldn't eat meat and dairy. That was my kosher diet. 3 years, I wasn't even doing mitzvot, I wasn't learning Torah. My process of becoming observant is to get rid of all the junk. First I had to get rid of all the junk. Stop drinking, stop smoking, stop everything that is bad, illegal, addictions. Just get rid of that. You can't serve Hashem with any type of an addiction. Then, the first thing that I started doing that bothered me the most, that every word that came out of my mouth was a curse. That's how people talk in our generation. Every word that comes out of the mouth is false language. No, I'm not going to start telling you the A word, the B word, the C word, but that's how I spoke. Every conversation was just curses. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't even listen to myself. So it was like a funny thing to see it. You know, when I lived in Chicago, I moved from New York to Chicago after my experience. I was isolated. I was in the middle of nowhere. I needed to be just with myself. So I can't talk lashon hara, that I can't lie, that I can't do anything. But one of the first things that really was the most focused that I focused on is stop lying. Stop lying. All day long was lies. And every word that came out of my mouth, right away I would stop and analyze it. Was this a lie? Was this truth? If I would find out there was some type of a lie there, right away I would do the tshuva. Sorry, I didn't mean that. It's not the truth. I'm sorry I said that. People thought I'm a little bit cuckoo. I would tell something to a person, 2 minutes later, you know what? I'm sorry, I made it up. It's not true. It's not 100% true. This is 100% the truth. Because I had to get out of this habit of that everything is a lie. And you know where you catch yourself that you lie all the time? I used to have a little notebook, and every lie that I would say, I would write down the lie. And at the end of the day, would come Shema, Kriyat Shema Lamitah, the bedtime Shema. I would pull out the notebook, and I would see, not only that I wrote the lies, at what time I would say that. And I would find in my notebook 50, 60, 80, 100 lies. And what nonsense. Not that I'm lying something big. Nonsense. And I was becoming so aware how every little thing has to be 100%. No distortions. How many times you're driving, you're on the way to a meeting, you're late, the person calls you, where are you? You're late. You're looking at the GPS says you're there in 12 minutes. I'm there in 3 minutes. No, you're not. You liar. The GPS says 12 minutes. Why are you saying you're there in 3 minutes? Well, you think that those extra 9 minutes, the person will go into some bubble and not notice that you're late? Just say, I'm sorry. This is the situation. The GPS is showing right now 12 minutes. I don't know. Maybe it'll take me 15 minutes. I don't know. So I used to catch myself all day long on these little lies. So you have to constantly ask yourself, am I 100% honest? That you can't even find one little thing that says the person is a liar. Now I'm not talking about the people who will tell you that you are a liar. I don't care. I know the truth. That's what I care. I care about what Hashem thinks and what Hashem knows. So how do I get attached to this truth? I have to remove all the junk from me, to remove all these afflictions. It's in the term of Kabbalah called negaim, things that are attached to my soul, these klipot. How do I do it? There's only one way of doing it. I have to work on myself and refine myself, and I have to work on 3 midot. Ge'ava, akshanut, pachad. Ge'ava is my ego, my ge'ava. That's the problem with it. Most people. The next one is akshanut, stubbornness. Most people are so stubborn, even if they know that they're wrong, they will never turn around because they're stubbornness. And the third one is fear. People are afraid of everything that moves. Why are you afraid? You know, sometimes most people, their problems with other people is fear. I'm afraid of that person. He's coming to take my business. He's coming to take my, I don't know what, my fame. Why are you afraid of that person? Why is that person so intimidating to you? Why do you feel so inferior to this person? Don't you have any trust in Hashem? Nobody can take anything that belongs to you. How many times you see people in a relationship, their spouse is talking to another person. Oh, why is he talking there? What are you afraid that person is coming to take your date away from you, your husband? What are you afraid of? So I find that many people that they cause problems is because they're threatened by another person. Why are you threatened by another person? Why you think that person can take something that doesn't belong to him? How can you be threatened by somebody? So we have 3 bad midot that we have to work on. Ge'ava, pride, which is our ego, to lower yourself, the stubbornness, and the fear. And the fear can come in many different ways. Most people, they're afraid of many things. I'm not talking about being afraid of a mouse. I'm being afraid of a situation. Anxieties and fear. Now, when I'm talking about the stubbornness, I'll give you one example. There's a certain individual that whatever, it doesn't matter all the details, but the person is going around town and many other towns, and all his agenda is just to badmouth me and my wife and our organization and to trash us, and that's his business. Okay, in the beginning was hard. In the beginning was maybe we should go with a campaign to prove how wrong he is, not to talk about what that individual is doing, but nevertheless, both my wife and me, just ignore it. At some point there was, I fear for this person. He's going to have a serious problem with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So one time I saw him in the street. He always avoids me when he sees me in the street. One time I cornered him. He just came and he was in front of me, and I was like, that's it, you can't move now. What are you going to do? Turn around and run away? And I came to him not in a gesture of fight. I came and I took my hand out and I shook my hand and told him, listen, this is not healthy for 2 people to be in such a situation. If I would tell him, stop saying Lashon Hara, stop saying lies, he would right away become defensive. I told him, listen, I'm not here to fight with you. And whatever problem you have, let's sit, let's talk, let's work things out. It's not good for 2 people to be in a disagreement. So we're in the street, I texted him maybe 20 times. This is all happening in the last couple of weeks. And in the text, I'm telling him, you know, I'm offering you an open door. Come, let's talk. Let's make peace. The problem with him that he went so far out, he don't know how to make a U-turn already. This is called a stubbornness. Now, how is it going to look to the world that now you make peace with me? Now you're going to look like a complete fool. So this is this stubbornness that you know that you are wrong. I'm offering you in the nicest way. You know, I don't have any anger towards you. I don't hate you. I don't resent you. I'm trying to help you. This is this stubbornness. Doesn't let him. Now every couple of days text him. The offer's on the table. You're welcome to come any day. I'm not upset at you. I'm not going to do anything to you. So pride, stubbornness, and fear. Now, how do you do all this? You have to be annulled. This is called bitul. That's what we call in the term of Kabbalah, of Chassidut, bitul. Moshe Rabbeinu was the ultimate bitul, ultimate humble, nothingness. Interestingly, there's a great rabbi in our generation. His name is Rabbi Ginsburg. Great Mekubal, written dozens of books. He said once, I heard him once saying a lecture, what's bitul? Bitul is a nullification. But what's bitul? In English is be a tool. Be a tool. So, in order to reach that, I have to be nullified. How do I do that? When I understand that I really don't know nothing. How do you come to the ultimate bitul? Is when you realize you don't know nothing. I read and read and read, and the more I read, the more I understand I don't know nothing. And the more I read, the more I understand that I really don't know nothing. So, in a short version, is how do you become ultimate bitul? Is when you really understand that you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. When you think you know something, that's the opposite of bitul. So we have to focus on three things: tikkun midot, the refinement of character; bitul hayesh, the nullification of any type of ego in existence; and interrogating and researching for what's the truth. Don't believe anything that anybody throws at you. You buy a product, it says on the product 100% natural. Why do you believe that? All no preservatives. Oh yes? So how is this on the shelf for 5 months if there's no preservatives? Don't believe anything that people, every product that they sell you. Somebody comes and tells you Lashon Hara, okay, let me check before I'm going and doing something. So again, tikkun midot, refinement of character; bitul hayesh, a nullification of any type of ego in existence, and searching for the truth. You have to search for the truth. When you do that, that's when you get to the point that you live a life of truth. So B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to continue with having more classes, how you really work on the bitul on tikkun midot, how you really come to an ultimate nullification. Bitul hayesh, this is a very high level. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu reached to. Again, bitul hayesh, the nullification of any type of an ego in existence, and needless to say, constantly searching for the truth. And we have to understand that now what the second says, 49, 50, 51, seconds are going like that. We're wasting time. I'm going to tell you in a different class, an unbelievable chidush, something unbelievable that the Gaon from Vilna said. He has a book, Binu Shnot Dor Vador. And he says there, that every verse in the Torah corresponds to 1 year in the existence of the world, in the creation of the world. And I'll tell you more about that because according to the verses of the Torah, we're running out of time already. That's it. All right? So we'll talk about it in a different class, but we have to understand that time is running out. Every day, I cannot waste my time of living in a world of an imaginary world. I cannot waste my time running after nonsense. I cannot waste my time being trapped in the bubble of deception. And if I have to wake myself up every hour, then wake up. I can't be attached in any type of a way to any type of a lie. You do that, you live a life of truth. This is Chayei Emet, and that's how you really get attached to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. 3 times a day we say a certain prayer. Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yalelu Chasela. Twice in Shacharit, once in Mincha. And towards the end it says, Karov Hashem lechol korav. Hashem is close to all the ones who call Him. Lechol asher yikru be'emet. To all the ones who will call Him with truth. In Hebrew, the translation, they're all the ones who really call Him. Yikru be'emet. It means the ones who are calling Hashem with truth. I'm coming to you, Hashem, with truth. Then Hashem is close to you. Where the place where there's no truth, Hashem cannot dwell there.